Okay, by now many parents out there have gotten that piece of paper reminding them that parent-teacher conferences are coming up. The question is, once you're in the room sitting face-to-face with your child's teacher, how can you best prepare yourself for what you're about to hear? Here to help us sort it all out, Lana Raley. She's the school counselor at Bradfield Elementary School in Highland Park. Great to see you.
Thank you, Carrie. Thanks for having me.
I think every parent would love to hear that little Tommy or Susie is absolutely perfect. There's no improvement needed whatsoever. But the case is, there's always room for improvement. You can always do better.
Sure.
And I think the first thing parents need to know is to really show up in the first place. That's how you get the communication going.
Absolutely. That's why the parent-teacher conference is so important to just be there. You know, we all live such busy lives, and everybody's schedules are crazy, but, you know, you take the time. A lot of times, you know, most families have both parents working, too. And so
that's true.
If you make the time to show up at the conference, it sends a very important message that you think education is important, and it sends a message to your child that school is important, and that you're going to know what's happening at school. You know, your child is with their teacher for 6 or more hours a day, and
sometimes more than the parent.
Sometimes even more than the parent. So they have a huge influence on your child's life.
Okay, well, we have set up some different scenarios where someone's playing the teacher, and these are things where parents might hear, and you're going to help us on the other end of that. So let's take up the first one, which focuses on dialogue. Take a look.
Sam really likes books, and he's a very fast reader, and he's great with spelling, but he's really struggling with the comprehension of the material, and you can see that in the TPRI results.
Okay, so this was actually academic. So first of all, what does TPRI stand for?
Well, TPRI is the Texas Primary Reading Inventory. Okay. And in the world of education, there are tons of acronyms. And so during the parent-teacher conference, if the teacher says something that you're not familiar with, it's very important for the parent to ask for clarification. You know, ask to please explain to me what that is, and the TPRI is given in most schools in Texas, and it's given to primary grade students, kindergarten, first and second, and it measures their reading ability and how they're progressing. So it's a great diagnostic tool that will tell the parents, you know, how they're progressing with their phonics knowledge, spelling, how fluently they're able to read, and it also tests for comprehension.
Okay, I believe we now have the one queued up for discussion with the teacher, so let's go ahead and roll that one again.
We're here to talk about Sam. He seems to really thrive and come alive when we're doing science experiments. He loves to figure out how things work. I was wondering if he does the same things at home.
That's a good question. We all, you know, the teacher wants to know, are we carrying this over in the home? So how do you respond to that if you're, especially if you're not?
Well, typically you're probably going to be noticing the same things. You know, this reminds me of my son Bo. You know, he's very inquisitive, and we have a coffee maker in our garage and an old VCR that should have been thrown out years ago, but he loves to take things apart. So when we hear that his teacher is seeing the same types of interests in him, it's a great dialogue to have between the parent and the teacher to really focus in on the strengths that you see in your child at home, and then it's great to know that he's exhibiting those at school too. What are those natural inclinations that your child has that you can help develop over time in him?
Exactly. Okay, so we've covered dialogue, we've covered academics. Next is the child's behavior. What do we do if we hear something like this?
Sam is well liked by all of his peers. He makes them laugh, but he makes them laugh a bit too much. He's a bit of a class clown, and therefore a disruption to the rest of my class.
Okay, I had this issue with one of mine when he was in preschool. It was kind of like the class clown, and I wasn't sure how to handle that. So how does one parent respond to something like that?
Well, I think it's a good idea to ask for specific examples. You know, maybe probe a little bit more to find out what's going on in the classroom, and maybe offer suggestions that you do at home, you know, for something that works for you at home to help your child when he's a little bit too rowdy. Kind of give her some suggestions and strategies to try at school as well. And remember that the sense of humor is such a positive thing.
It's such a positive thing, and we don't want to take that away.
That's right, and it can be a real strength and a real confidence builder in kids, and so, but teaching them really the appropriateness of when to use their sense of humor.
I think a big thing parents should take away, because we had discussed this yesterday when we were going over this segment, you know, teachers don't have a hidden agenda. They're going to tell you how it is, like it is, and they expect parents to be the same amount of forthcoming during that conference.
Exactly.
And that can only benefit the child, because that's who it's all about.
Exactly. And if you're sharing things that you're seeing going on at home, like if there's maybe an ailing relative, or maybe a new baby's on the way, or a change in the structure or routine, that really helps the teacher know too what's going on, because behavior that you see at home may transfer into school and vice versa. So that open dialogue and open communication is key.
We have one last scenario. Let's go ahead and listen to the teacher on this one.
Sam is a very enthusiastic child, and he's very social. He participates a lot in class, which is wonderful. The only negative consequence to this is that sometimes he has trouble staying on task.
Staying on task. We want our kids to stay on task. We like that they're so happy in class, but how do we handle something like that, and should we follow up with a question to the teacher?
Yes, and I would ask the teacher, well, does it seem like there's a certain time of day maybe where he's more attentive or less attentive, or you know, maybe there's think about things going on outside of the classroom, maybe stressors at home or change in structure or routine that might be playing an impact on that. And then, you know, if it's something that where the teacher is constantly having to redirect the child throughout the day numerous times, it might be a good idea to implement a little daily point sheet kind of a behavior plan where they have a daily communication tool between the parent and the teacher, so that then you can reward the child when he gets home, and the child knows what I'm doing at school is going to be known at home, and vice versa.
Okay, and an important point to make is once the actual conference is over, doesn't mean the communication should end with the teacher.
Absolutely not,
So should we be calling the teacher frequently? We don't want to bother them, they're busy enough, but how do we keep that relationship going?
Right, well, I think, you know, the parent-teacher conference definitely lays the foundation for a partnership. And it's all about being in a partnership together, and, you know, ask the teacher, what's the best way for me to communicate with you? Do you prefer emails or phone calls? So that you can keep that trusting, honest, open relationship throughout the whole school year.
And I've always found in my experience they're always willing to comply and work with you. Thank you so much for the helpful tips. It's right around the corner, parent-teacher conferences. Thanks, Lana. Okay, we should mention it is National School Counseling Week, so we want to say happy National Counseling Week to you, Lana.
Thank you, Carrie.
Up next on GMT, our heart